Released prematurely. He was a model prisoner, according to Correctional Services, but he ended up being charged with the murders of 4 children, all of them under the age of 9. And later, this parolee stands accused of 3 murders and 18 rapes in the Eastern Cape.
Decomposed.
His crimes were detected when he was on parole anyway, by the community, and therefore the community informed the parole.
But not by DCS.
We explore the shocking state of our parole system after this. There are currently 61,000 prisoners on parole walking the streets of South Africa. According to Correctional Services, almost 100% of them are compliant. At the same time, various researchers claim our recidivism rate, or rate of reoffending, is anywhere up to 90%. So who do we believe? Harry Viti spoke to 2 families who lost loved ones, allegedly at the hands of paroled prisoners, and she found gaps in the system that could have made it possible for them to reoffend. Tabat Lamini and Clayton Tom were behind the camera.
This is a sight no mother should have to bear. 4 children, the oldest 8, the youngest just turned 2, buried side by side, never to laugh or play again. It's a reality 30-year-old Sylvia Monyela will have to contend with for the rest of her life, after her husband, Lucas Pasha, allegedly murdered their kids on February 17th this year in Siyokoribeng village in Limpopo. Monyela's aunt, Jemina Monyela, was the first family member at the scene of the crime. Monyela says this was the last in a series of horrific acts perpetrated against her and her children since 2009 when she met Pasha.
Lucas fela etla mochia mara o ya kwana le fela tshebe phela ka go tshaba.
Nto kudu ke taba gore nna ke a tjola ka moka sangare ke bana ba gagwe ke thomme ka katlego le ena ra a se ngwana gagwe wa ile moshweu.
She was a mere 19 years of age when she met him. Pasha was 21 years her senior and, unbeknownst to her, fresh out of prison and on parole.
Pasha was sentenced for murder and 3 counts of attempted murder before he was placed on parole.
Nhlanhla Moremi is the acting director in the Parole Pre-Release Department of Correctional Services. She confirms that in June 2002, Pasha was sentenced to 12 years imprisonment but served only 6 years behind bars. In 2008, he was placed on parole.
The conditions of his parole was that he will be under house arrest.
In order to release these people, he goes to an office that is called Community Corrections, where he will be assigned a supervision official in order to monitor that person on a day-to-day basis under specific conditions.
Monyela says Pasha would meet with officers at the gate, but she had no clue what the purpose of the visits were. The National Prosecuting Authority confirmed that Pasha murdered a neighbor's 3-month-old baby amidst a domestic dispute with his ex-wife in 1998. By the time Monyela discovered Pasha's criminal past through a community member, he had already served the mandated 6 years of his parole sentence between 2008 and 2013.
Ene ano ya amrapeletša ka tša amrapeletšang ka tšona ka tša ditšhalete ka ge e sa le ngwana a dumela.
Every time Monyela tried to escape, she says Pasha would embark on a relentless hunt for her until she would return to their dysfunctional marital home. The cycle continued, and on one such occasion, when Monyela had taken flight over Easter in 2019, Pasha turned his rage on her most precious gifts.
Ka khomela ka jule butya ka khwedi ka ite bana ba ka nnete ba ngwane mongwe ba ka tla go pele mongolanya ya khona go bona mfounela gore papa wa re tia o ntia ka le blanka o nga tilo re ga tila re wa re bolai.
Between a rock and a hard place, in June 2019, Monyela says she went back to Pasha but made a firm decision.
Nna ka plana gore ka 2020 ke tlo spela le bona.
Saturday, February 15th this year marked Monyela's final breaking point when she says Pasha threatened her with an axe and a gun. Immediately after dropping her children off at school on the morning of February 17th, Monyela made a fruitless beeline for the Moroke police station.
Mogala le sare ka mogonna ke reng le re ka sepela police station ke tla gae ka tla ka magae ka dula ka founela moshimane wa transport ka re bana ba o ska ba folosha mo sokodibe o ba foloshe mo ga ge ke tlo ba letela mo o ba folosha once ala ba gone ta ka bo 2:30 ke thegile ka ema kwa tlase mo bana ba fologa once ka dula ya ba tea 4 kam founela ka hantle bana ba kae ha re tata o bona wa tshira Pasha mfounela a re se di batsa ke gopala go topolaya ka mo tropa ka sa a fona ga ka sara ba founa gagwe a fona ga ka rena bana ba kae a re na tsebe.
But Pasha knew exactly where the children were, and on the morning of the 18th of February at 6:30,
ke founela ke monne mongwe ore ke marutlela mo next door ya rena kwa sokodibe a re sibia mo kae ka senya ke go mmotsa a re ke founela ke Pasha gore o bolaile bana nka re ke a lora ke se sho gore go riegile ka mogo ke nnete bana ba ka ba hlokofetse.
Coming up, Correctional Services says it is the responsibility of communities to inform it of any crimes committed by prisoners on parole.
It's not our sole responsibility. It should be the responsibility of all of us, the community, the family, and the Department of Correctional Services.
Between June 2008 and August 2013, when Lucas Pasha was on parole attached to Praktisir Community Correction Center under the watch of a DCS supervision official, he somehow managed to run a sadistic campaign of domestic violence against Sylvia Monyela.
When you look at Pasha per se, he has been complying. We have been complying to our own conditions.
Yeah.
He was even a tutor inside our institution. And by the time the CMC decided that this person is ready for parole, Pasha has complied with every bits and pieces of our prescripts and our offender rehabilitation path, as well as our correctional sentence plan.
Is domestic violence a criminal offense or not?
It is a criminal offense.
Oh, okay. Between 2009 and 2013, when he was still under the care and the dedicated supervision of DCS, why Lucas Pasha was beating his then wife to a pulp?
We are not aware.
That's the problem.
Of that information that you are presenting.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That you are presenting before us.
Our supervision officials will go there. We'll call him. We'll call him to come out of the house to sign specific document, because he has to sign. Then, if they don't give us to us, we'll never know about it. That's why we depend on the spouses for them to make us aware.
So it's their fault. So what you're telling me is this dedicated official comes to the gate, hey, Pasha, come, sign, and that's it. Beyond that, what does he do?
Contradicting what he said a few seconds earlier.
The person goes inside the house, you understand?
Deputy Director Azwi Hangwisi says Pasha's biological family shouldn't have signed for his release while unwilling to report his crimes.
Our monitoring supervision go there before he's even considered by the parole to say, we have got Pasha. We are going to release Pasha on this particular date. And therefore the family says, yo, we want Pasha back, and then they sign. There are so many offenders that we put on sentence in our correctional centers until sentence expiry, because the family says, we don't want this person is violent.
Of course, like I would expect Pasha's family, unless he somehow offended them directly, to accept him back. We can't say now it's Pasha's family's responsibility, because it's under the care of DCS. Really simple. The question becomes, how many other crimes does DCS not pick up?
We did not pick it up because it's not our sole responsibility. It should be the responsibility of all of us, the community, the family, and the Department of Correctional Services.
This individual who allegedly was monitoring Pasha clearly did an ineffective job.
This correctional official, they were doing their job perfectly.
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 Is that why they did? If it was a perfect job.
I want to come to that. They were doing their job perfectly. They were writing everything when they meet Pasha. But what you need to understand, rehabilitation is something that is inside the person.
It is still your responsibility.
Eventually, after much debate, the reason Pasha's domestic violence crimes weren't detected, which would have resulted in the revocation of his parole, was revealed. Revocation of parole is when a parolee fails to comply with parole conditions and is reincarcerated in a correctional services facility.
We have got social auxiliary workers that we have employed that are dealing with that situation from recently. It's not, we haven't started with them long time ago. I think we only started appointing them last year.
We assume that these social auxiliary workers were brought in to close the gap.
Yeah,
so can we just
true.
accept during the period when Lucas Pasha was on parole, there was a gap?
Yeah, there was. That one we agree. We have put those resources in order to close the gap in relation to that through that appointment of social auxiliary workers.
If the South African Police Services and Department of Correctional Services had done their job, maybe Sylvia Monyela would have had the opportunity to create happy memories with her children.
Next, an alleged rape and killing frenzy while out on parole.
No. Our purpose is to offer rehabilitation program, is to correct
Not
the
to keep the community safe.
"4 years ago, 25-year-old Zandile Matoyo could never have imagined that she would be attending court hearings for the man accused of raping and murdering her sister, Bongiwe, when she too was 25 years old. These are the cards they've allegedly been dealt by Parole Malibongwe Ngokolo, who now stands accused of committing 3 murders and 18 rapes between 2014 and 2017 in Mdantsane in the Eastern Cape. On the 5th of May 2017, Matoyo received a call about her now deceased older sister.
So kwaye kwafona uboyfriend wakhe endlini ebuza yena uba uphi uBongiwe ndabe mandimazi ephume endlini siya kuye.
Matoyo says the police failed to take her seriously.
Xa ndifika ka1 amapolisa kwathi andikhangela umuntu omdala. Wasazi umuntu omdala lahleke nje njalo.
The police say they have launched a formal investigation into both Sylvia Monyela and Matoyo's allegations. Almost a month later, on the 31st of May, she heard a commotion in her neighborhood.
Kugcwele abantu, amapolisa, forensic, wonke umuntu nje abahlala. Xa ndivayo phayana bakwenza kantoni, kuthiwa kukho abantu abacholweyo, abaswelekileyo, abaphayana. So ndaya kwelinye ipolisa phaa kuba ndifuna uva impahla zasephayana ngelaa xesha. Nyhani laa polisa laqala ngezi zikabongo bezinxitywe nguBongiwe. Landixelela uba kukho ilogo phaya emfitshane, egreen. Nee-flops ezimnyama.
Umzimba wakhe waye decomposed. Wawungenombona, wayengabonakala amehlo engekho.
Neighbor Zimbini Tonisi says community members conducted their own investigation.
Kwazofunyaniswa nyhani into yobana umntu obekhe wanento ayenzileyo okanye umntu obuya etrongweni ngulo mntu.
When the community caught him, Ngokolo had allegedly just raped a teenager.
I saw her as a hero. Kuba ubana bingenguye laa mntana besingazomazi nobubongo uba uphi na.
Bongiwe Matoyo and another female victim's bodies were found in the bushes a short distance away.
So xa kusiwa kuye nyhani wavuma into yobana wabesebanjwa ngabahlali, wabethwa. Xa ubethwa ngabahlali wabesevumile into yobana uyenzile le nto kwabe sekufika amapolisa ke ngoku.
According to the National Prosecuting Authority, 44-year-old Malibongwe Ngokolo was convicted of rape in January 2006. He was sentenced to 16 years imprisonment. On the 27th of February 2014, Ngokolo was released on parole to serve the remaining 7 years of his sentence within the community. He is technically still on parole until 2021. Within 7 months of his placement on parole in September 2014, it is alleged that Ngokolo's crime spree began.
How was he able to carry on in this fashion under the watch of, Mdantsane Community Corrections?
That question, it's a very difficult question to answer. To
Why?
say how was he? Let me say, I know he's being monitored. Okay. That's why I was saying he might have, this is an assumption, he might have waited for these people monitoring him, and just after they leave, he goes and, or he went to commit those crimes. Because here the record shows very
Can I see them?
Very clearly that Ngokolo was being monitored, and the person who was monitoring is there on the document. He was being monitored so much.
Is there a total here, or do I have to count?
The other, this is the same paper as that one, right? Yeah, he was being monitored on regular basis.
Okay, if my accounting is correct, it's 47 times.
We still have other information in terms of his monitoring period.
So you're saying to me that is an incomplete record, essentially?
This one is for 2020.
Ends in 2016.
Huh?
It's from 2014 until 2017.
Yeah.
All the dates there. So that's an incomplete record. 47 times. I'm just trying to understand a maximum risk person, 47 times, 36 months, let's assume. That's on average once a month. if even. They skipped some months, according to that record.
DSS it's really working with its partners in order to close the gap. Partners that we're talking about South African Police Services, as well as the community itself, and also increasing the resources that are used in order to effectively monitor these parolees and probationers. His crimes were detected when he was on parole anyway,
Detectable.
by the community, and therefore the community informed the parole.
But not by DCS. Why are you releasing people who have committed heinous crimes back into the communities? If you're not counterintelligence, if you're not looking at possible threats, then you really need to stop. Wouldn't you agree?
No. Our purpose is to offer rehabilitation programs, is to correct
not to keep the community safe. The ones
No. Listen to this. Let's give each other a chance. Our purpose is to correct and rehabilitate, to correct the offending behavior, and to make our community safe as per NDA.
Azwi Hangwisi says Ngokolo was placed under house arrest.
As you say, it was house arrest. So do these people have electronic monitoring devices? Yes or no?
No. We used to have electronic monitoring. Now we are no longer using it. But
why, if I may interject?
It has been put on hold. That's how I can put it. The electronic monitoring. But these ones that you have, like the client that you have, they were not put on electronic monitoring for now. In fact, he's not put on electronic monitoring. Ngokol, I think before 2014, the electronic monitoring was still in. I think he was placed during that time, but I need to verify my facts.
But you said he wasn't.
No.
Again, Azwi Hangwisi placed responsibility on the family's shoulders.
For me, house arrest is very much effective as long as you have the family that cooperates, because in most of the time the family will call you to say, no, this person is not complying to the condition.
That's very much so based on the hope to report their own family member, correct?
Yes, if we compare the two systems, yes, the electronic monitoring was very much effective.
Malibongwe Ngokolo is currently in prison, awaiting the outcome of his trial.
It's
called Correctional Services, but considering the cases and shortfalls highlighted in this episode, it may be useful to first correct the institution itself, then maybe efforts to correct the individuals it houses will be more effective. Thanks for watching Checkpoint. I'm Ngepile Mabuse.